Shanti. Are you all happy in Baba's remembrance? Uh, 26th October 2017 Murli revision. And today's Murli, Baba says, sweet children, be so sweet to each other, and you have to meet frequently and discuss among yourselves about the ways to give Baba's introduction to everybody. One has to have a strong faith that it is God that teaches through Brahma, and it is only through him that we can claim the full inheritance. And only when you do have that faith can you study this knowledge regularly and also put adequate effort to claim that inheritance. Under no circumstances should you avoid reading Murli. Baba is also a point of light, just like these souls. Nobody knows this. Even if they do know that, they still are ignorant of the fact that 84 birth spots are recorded in this soul. Though they do not know anything about God, they still call God as their Father. They too remember the Father, but the only difference is we know about Him and remember Him, but they remember Him without having any knowledge about Him. He is the purifier. He purifies all the impure souls towards the end of this iron age, which is why he is called the Father. There's no use in writing the slogan, be pure, because nobody understands the meaning of it unless you explain about it to them. You have to explain them that you only by remembering God that you can become pure. One can be considered holy only if he stays pure. The sannyasis says that they renunciate actions, but in reality it is impossible. Everybody has to perform their own actions as long as they are in the body. What they perform is Hatha Yoga, and nobody can reach God through that because God has to come to meet God. And He has to establish heaven for us to go to heaven. Baba says, you don't attain anything by reading religious scriptures. Since we are the actors of this drama, it is necessary that we should know about the whole drama from the beginning to the end. And also, it is essential to know about the three worlds. People think that these religious scriptures exist eternally, but God clarifies that these scriptures come into being only from Dwapar Yuga. When somebody comes to you, ask them where they have come. They would say that they have come to the Brahmakumaris. Then ask them that there are so many Brahmakumars and Brahmakumaris. So there should be a Brahma. He should be the father. How can he be the father of so many children? So it is actually the god Shiva who creates so many children through Brahma, which is why Brahma is also our mother. So we should have love for our mother. So God has made us his children to purify us so that he can take us to his sweet home and to the heaven filled with peace and bliss. You need to constantly say this to others so that it stays in your memory forever. There are so many temples of Lakshmi and Narayan. So go there and meet those who build those temples and explain them about how Lakshmi and Narayan gain their kingdom and how they lose it. And you have to explain them with proof that Sri Krishna is not the Lord of Bhagavad Gita. It is the end of this iron age, which is why people do not have any love for God. It is only we BKs, Brahmakumaris, have true love for God. And we now know that we are getting our inheritance from our father, spiritual father, and our fight is now with our very old enemy, Ravan. So our boat may rock, but will never sink because it is the boat of truth. Subjects will be lot in number, but very few become kings. For that, you need to have courage and you have to make more effort. In the night class, Baba asked about how long children remember Baba. So it is very hard to find anybody who remembers Baba for 2 hours throughout the day. The worldly student will never forget their parents or teachers while they were at play or while they were at home studying. Similarly, you should never forget our spiritual father, spiritual teacher, and spiritual Sadguru. If you focus continuously, then you should be able to write all the points Baba has been teaching. And now Baba discusses about the death. He says the best death or the sweetest death is the one where they encounter death out of heart attack because they have no time to think of mine or yours. But still better death should be yours by forgetting the body consciousness completely and be fully fixed in the soul consciousness, that is the karmadit stage, and then you have to leave this body. So you have to leave this body very happily. That happiness should reflect in your face so that nobody can identify whether you are dead or alive. Baba says, it is only you children who love me so intensely, just as cow chew the cud after grazing, you too have to churn the knowledge points. Brahma Baba says that he has very less time compared to others because he has to handle many issues happening in several Brahmakumaris centers. Despite that, it is easier for Brahma Baba than others to remember Shiv Baba because he is with him. But still, it is hard for him to remember Baba continuously for 3 minutes while he eats. Though this remembrance is very easy, it takes time to remember continuously. In today's Vardhan or blessing, Baba says, if you are knowledgeful, then you will never get angry and you will always be content because you know that if you can't stay content even after becoming the child of God, then when will you ever be content? So Baba says, only those who stay always happy and always content, only they are very near to Baba and they are equal to Baba. And in today's slogan, Baba says, if you are ignorant, totally ignorant of waste, then you are the greatest soul in fact. Shanti. And I'm going to add today's Bhatti class along with this revision class because it will be very easy for you to download all in just one single video. So in today's Bhatti, what we are going to discuss is the practice. So far we have been practicing as a rider of the chariot with 7 horses, 5 being our 5 physical senses, and the 2 horses are our mind and intellect, and we are the soul, the driver of the chariot. And our chariot is going towards the target of Lakshmi Narayan in the Satya. So we have to start from the bottom of this ladder. So, as per yesterday's Vardhan, we have to have this intoxication that we are the king of this body. The soul is the king, and the physical senses are my slaves. Only when you have this intoxication, you can control these senses. Only when these senses are under your control, you can reach your target on time. So we have so many chariots coming along with us towards the target because it's a race, but they all will fail because their horses are not under their control. But I'm the king. No matter how many lose, I will still be the first to hit the target because I have full control over my physical senses. You have to have this intoxication. I'm the king. I'm the king of self sovereignty. You need to have this intoxication. You have to keep on increasing this intoxication by remembering this constantly. Along with that, we have to remember that we shouldn't bother about anything that's happening around us because every single second we focus on what's going on around us, we are going to lose this race. We are not here to lose the race or lose the battle. We have to win. We have to become that Narayan, and we should not compromise with any lesser status. And we can apply to this blessing along with this practice. That is, we have to be knowledgeful. We have to have the knowledge of past, present, and future. So when you have this knowledge, you will never get angry. You will never get confused because whatever happens right before my eyes is actually the result of my past action. So I have to face it. I have to accept it. I have to accept it with peace in remembrance of one Shiv Baba. And by accepting it, in addition to settling the karmic account, I'm actually saving my fortune for the future. That is the same soul that is giving me trouble at present is going to give me only happiness in the future if I can accept it. So when I know this, when I see through this eye of knowledge, then I find no reason to get angry, to get discontent. So no matter what happens, I will still be content, I will still be happy. Nothing in this world can take away happiness out of me. So that is why I'm called the knowledgeful soul. So you have to remember that. You have to remember that you are the king and not the slave to the senses. And the second point, you have to see everything through the eye of knowledge. The knowledge of three times, past, present, and future. In addition, You have to always consider yourself higher than everybody in this world. Only when you consider yourself to be the highest, you will look down on others. So the people who are of lower rank, their actions, words, and thoughts will also be lower. So you won't bother about it because they belong to the lower category. But you should consider yourself to be of the highest rank, Sri Narayan. So you should not be like that. You should not even be interested in what others are doing because you have no role models either from Brahman Parivar or from Laukik Parivar. So only role model is Brahma and Shiv Baba. That's it. So he has already reached the target. So I'm just going to follow his path. So no matter what happens around me, I'm not going to be bothered by that. All I'm worried about is to spend every single second in my journey towards the target. I'm not going to see anything that's not going to help me reach the target. I'm not going to listen to anything that's not going to help me reach the target. So whatever I listen, that should help me reach the target, which means I should listen only to Baba's words. I should only see the soul, and I should always fill myself with the remembrance of Baba. And in addition to that, we are going to imbibe another practice, that is where so we are actually in a chariot that's speeding up towards the target, but it actually means the senses are under full control. So if you order your mind to stay in Parandam for the next 1 hour, it should stay without any complaint, without any waste thought. So that is the main practice we are going to practice today. So for the next 1 hour, you should stay just in Parandam as a point of light without any other thought. Even if there is any thought, it should be only with Baba. You should share your thoughts only with Baba and nobody else. So if you have to come to this world, physical world, for doing anything, for thinking anything that's worldly, you are allowed to be here not more than 2 minutes. So within 2 minutes, you should go back to where you came from, that is to Parandam. So if you can succeed in this stage with this rule for 1 hour, then after the completion of that 1 hour, you give yourself a big treat by imagining yourself as being seated in the throne of Narayan in Satyug. So your slaves or servants are adorning you with jewels, with costly costumes. So imagine that for the next 5 minutes. So by that you are giving yourself a treat for your hard work for the past 1 hour. And after that, you shift your place from Parandam to the subtle world. You sit in front of Bap Dada in your subtle body. No matter what happens, you should stay there for the next 1 hour. So if that gets disconnected, you should reconnect within the next 2 minutes. So if you succeed for the next 1 hour by staying in the subtle world, then again you give yourself the treat by getting thrown as Narayan. Similarly, you repeat the process as in the deity form in the temple, and the next 1 hour as a Brahmin form. What is a Brahmin? Brahmin means those who live in a dead state, which means we have no attraction whatsoever towards this old world or the human beings of this old world. So, and also you have to keep on reminding yourself that you are the student of God Shiva. So your vision, thought, words, everything should reflect that you are the true student of God. You have to keep on reminding this yourself. So this is the main practice. That is, you have to stay in one world for 1 hour. So it could be the soul world, then followed by the and also you can do it with you have to stay as Narayan in Satyag for 1 hour. So if you are in Narayan, if you stay in that Swarup, in that form, then you also have to remember that Narayan is the king without any worries. So you have to be the happiest king. You have to remind yourself that you are the happiest king. No matter what happens, you should never lose your happiness. So that's the main practice. Along with that, you have to remember that you are in the journey towards your target and you should never waste a single second on any wasteful thought or any waste things. And you have to constantly remember that you are the king and not the slave. And in yesterday's Murli, Baba says, if you think of anybody even for a fraction of a second, then you are a prostitute. So you have to remind yourself that I'm not a prostitute. I'm the king. I have full control over my senses. So I'll hit the target on time. So you keep on turning these points and also stay right in one dom for 1 hour. So when you do that, you will see yourself disconnected from this world just in a fraction of a second. It will be that easy. Just practice it. Then you will say how easy it is and how blissful it felt, and share your experience in your comments. Thanks for watching. Share this practice to all your brothers and sisters and make them into Lakshmis and Narayans. Om Shanti. Love you, Bhagdada. Thank you, Bhagdada.